Because there's a part of your being that needs to be awakened, and when that part of your being is awakened, you attain elevation, or you attain salvation. And that part of your being that needs to be awakened can only be awakened through being born again. Find the divine inside of you, and all these things will be obedient unto you. There was this one of our brothers who he was part of the classes we were doing, and he was sharing his testimony that is outside the country, that the workplace where he is, there is a fortune teller, all those people that do that divination things and all those things, and people go to that person for counseling and consultation. This brother is part of the personality development class, okay, and for him, he does his regular practice and all those things. But this woman who does the fortune telling is a sorcerer and is a diviner, told him that does he know that he's more ahead than he, the diviner, spiritually. That this, my brother, friend, is spiritually ahead than she, the woman who does the divination. And then the woman is requesting that he should show her where she learns from. But to this, my brother and friend, he doesn't see anything about his development. But the one people go to help for consultation that do divination, who is having the sixth sense, is seeing the vibration and the level of this, my friend and brother. And he was just testifying over the weekend. And I was saying that it's not him alone. I have gone to places that me myself, those days I didn't know my estate. And people, these Niger people who do this divination and this thing, they'll come to tell us, hey, brah, me say me who can ya be brave one maybe I will kwasori wo me say what doing me so me kwasori. All I do is I internalize. Because the soul is light, self-obliged, ubiquitous light. And that light is divine. And that light, to activate that light, you don't need many things. You don't need all these things around you. Listen, the mystical arts are there. We are not saying they are wrong. They are not saying they are evil. But they become more powerful and more effective if you are able to internalize and to activate the divine inside you first. And this is the only reason why you do all these prayer directions, you do these ritual directions they give you, and you still go back to that fetish priest, you still go back to that diviner, you still go back to that soothsayer and then fortune tellers, and your problems are not being solved. And I repeat, the fact that you are given a seal, like for instance, the fact that you are given a seal or something. Let me show you. The fact that you come to, let's say for instance, you come to and I give you a seal like this, okay? I give you a seal like this. This seal, you see how old it is. This seal, this thing you see here is more than 15 years. And the instructions are behind it. It's one of the first things I learned. They have the instructions behind it, and the seals are there. Now, the fact that somebody takes you through this process, and you are able to do it, does not make you spiritually enlightened, and does not make you spiritually awakened. It is not true. Oh, my brother, we are not saying because theory. We say because we practice. That's why I'm showing this one. You see, we say I can show you a lot of things. We are saying we've got to practice. The fact that you are able to do this, it doesn't make you spiritually enlightened. Because I was once practicing some of these things, and it was later that when I became enlightened, hey! And I don't remember the last time I practiced these things when I became enlightened. I don't remember the last time I practiced these things. I'm telling you, if I'm doing it, I do it for somebody, I do it for purpose. Same already be anapa, na ma so candles. No. Are you talking about our seals? I want to show you. Some people think that maybe probably we are just talking. This is another seal. This is another seal. Just a moment. I'll show you. This is another seal. Not that you are talking for talking sake. This is another seal. We have a lot of them. Plenty. Listen. Look at this. These are invocations to work with the seals. And you can see how old some of these people are. You see how you see how brown it is. You can see. And yet, and paper. This paper is more than 10 years, and I've been using it for more than 10 years. This is a whole conjuration you have to do. You can see how old the stapler here is. You can see how old the stapler here, how brown the stapler is. You see, these are all conjurations. You can see how this thing. You see, and you can see that there's even inscriptions on it. When you look at it very close to the camera, you see I've written certain things on it. You understand? You see, so it's not something that we are saying talking. But the reason why sometimes you are quiet on some of these things is because it is not the primary thing you need. It's because sometimes it's not the primary thing you need. Yes, all these things I'm saying, those who are participating in the personality development and then the mystical class, I will teach them how to do it. But it is not the primary thing you need. The primary thing you need is the awakening of your internal power. Now, Oti plane so na plane konya crash. I feel na okopwe bi ode kan de besi. Nipa yendwin sharp. Oti car mu na car no konya accident a. I feel na obe no. Madam Fubi catch him say ye wo accident a yire duro. Nti se minim ye a menye bi ma no. And I'm say minim ye. But me wadi bia metumi kire na on ko baby accident ne bo si let alone to vanish. Me be say minim a yire duro ye. But I didn't know person unya accident. Unya yire accident ni si na wa yire fi mu. Why don't you get something that say accident ne be ba didn't prevent you from getting there? Others will be too as an accident be see, and as an be see as an obe do, and I said that day no ye ma for okra. You see, it's funny the kind of choices and the kind of things people fantasize. Now accidents now you don't be fear and I just say what ben do baby I. Wa of course now you right and the pack no before accident be see no. Who say accident be see and say what is accident be see to no one for okra on one have been. Wow, ko unim say accident be see. Or no de unim say accident be see nti on fa ho and I catch say man on fa ho. One no wine have been. So maintain how human beings will behave. And the things we hold in high esteem, the things we treasure. Master obi, but you have to die according to the cosmic plan. Obian your papa kodwentwe your for kodwentwe can say so obian no watching bo. Death is inevitable if it is to come. And when you tell usuro wu me tie say me untumi fe wu enwurenwura me. Magmen dada o me tie say untumi fe wu. Yeah so that your bompa is saying free because you are say nipa entie futuo. And adwuma ye ba be ehun nimfa because nipa de aye kan nipa ntinti omo be fa yen ko na ka say nya botre but ye were one or two souls wo why so mote asem no nti mi unfa woman the reason why usuro wo is because you are still not enlightened. You are still dead to the flesh. You are still drowned and dead in carnality. There's no spiritual awakening. Usuro wo no. I mean, you cannot threaten me with death. Because the last thing I'm afraid. The only reason why I may want to leave is probably because my kids are young and I may want to mentor them a little bit, or probably maybe there are a few friends or few people I know that maybe I have an obligation to be of help to them. Apart from that, I don't see any joy in living in this physical dimension. I'm telling you the truth. And the reason why Osuru is simply because you are not spiritually awoken. You are not born again. One of the first signs of spiritual awakening is that you don't feel dead. You see that from the day I became spiritually awakened, first, me, I don't like to pass Mochi Road because of the phone that can walk on it, you know. Mochi Road. I hate where caskets, coffins are. That's to the extent at which I am afraid to die. When I'm walking and I see obituary, I turn my head at the other side. Why? All it's because that time I was practicing these mystical things. You know, I was practicing these invocations and all those things. But still, I was afraid to die. Why I was afraid to die? Because there's a part of me which is divine that needs to be awakened. And that part of me which is divine that needs to be awakened is speaking in a certain way to my conscious mind. That if you lose that consciousness and you're unable to awaken me, there's trouble for you. And that is what is generating the fear. Obia is because the person is not attain elevation yet or salvation yet. Because there's a part of your being that needs to be awakened, and when that part of your being is awakened, you attain elevation or you attain salvation. And that part of your being that needs to be awakened can only be awakened through being born again. Now, when that part of the being is not awakened, that being knows that when it exits, there's trouble. And because of that, it speaks to your intellect or your mind field in a subtle way. So always your mind is just, you are just afraid to die. You don't know the reason why you are supposed to die. You can see somebody who is 90 years, who is 80 years. All his children are 50, 60, 70. He has no reason to be alive. And still the person is afraid to die. I mean, by the 30 years, why would I want to live? That child is independent. What am I here for? So by the 30 years, we are saying, the reason why I would want to stay is because if I have some nieces, nephews, and my kids are just 8, 9 years, then 6 years, so I need to mentor them. Maybe probably there will not be somebody to mentor them. But maybe Mike, maybe the 20 years, for what? We are saying what we are saying. You must live a life that you know that your journey on earth is finished. You must live a life that you know that your journey on earth is finished. And the day that awakening took place and that brilliance of infinity of divine essence was exposed to me, I heard the voice, this is the end of the journey. Ever since then, I've not lasted after any form of spirituality again. Ever since then, I have not have desire to go to any spiritual place, spiritual school, follow some. No. I have never had that desire. If there's anything I want to, maybe some mystical knowledge I want to know, so that I use it to teach somebody. But from the day I heard this, that this is the end of the journey, it has been the end of the journey. And from the day I heard this is the end of the journey, I'm yet to find out something that I will see which is about spirituality that I just don't understand, or they will not give me interpretation. We are talking about practical knowledge. I'm not talking about all these book, read, listen to teachers from other Indian masters and then come and talk. No. After you have listened to those Indian masters, after you are listening to those Chinese masters, after you have listened to those American masters, after you are listening to those African masters, and you have gotten the awareness, now you have to have your own awakening. Then what will be your... Because when you are awakened, you have a first-hand experience of that which they are saying or have written in books. And with my experience, I can tell you that anybody who is truly born again, the first sign you see with the person is never afraid to die. So anytime I see somebody who is afraid to die, I see the person is still dead. Is not awakened yet. Because we have something called indicators. We have something called indicators. So when the person becomes spiritually enlightened or spiritually awakened, okay, there are certain indicators. And one of the things you see in that indication is that the person is not afraid to die. That's the first thing. Second, the person doesn't have excessive quest for materialism. Fine, it's okay, you just want to live a comfortable life, but to riding in the most expensive car doesn't make value to the person. Living in the most extravagant house doesn't make value to the person. Wearing the most expensive clothing doesn't make value. That's what I mean. This thing, I can use it to do video more than 10 times. I don't care. Because you get to know how ephemeral this material dimension, the material reality is. So physical reality does not really have influence, because you become immune to the influences of sensual gratification. You become immune to the influence of sensual gratification when you become spiritually awakened. That's what Bible said. He who is spiritually minded is dead to the flesh. He's dead to the flesh because he becomes immune to the influences of sensual gratification. So there's the need for one to be born again when we're talking about spiritual development and conscious awakening. And what then is that being born again? It's a shift of consciousness. It's a shift of awareness to the internal Christ energy within you. Now, when you go to church, they are all worshiping Jesus Christ like they are worshiping the cross. It does not work. There's no Jesus Christ on the cross. The cross only represents the four polarity. One day we talk about that. One day we take time to make the teaching between the cross and then the ankh. They say the ankh is life and the cross is death, and the ankh has the womb of life at the top. And I will take time to explain to you what I have received inside. So you must be born again. You must go through an experience or a teaching that shifts your consciousness from material reality to internal reality, from external reality to internal reality. Because the God essence is first tapped from within. Bibi ebo, bibi ba. Ena bibi a wiase ekono. Ebeye nipa mo. What you say? Bibi a wiase ekono sa mo petty motia na boso betumi agemo. You are joking. I'm telling you before God and man. And sometimes I say, yeah, me ya. When you say petty abosom ne petty motia ne insotu. Omo so betumi agemo in those days I ba no. Now bosom no crowd na bro from me chicho mo de ko. Bosom one na o kpeshi, yesi kpeshi. It is alleged say kpeshi no. Britain for no acheche no de ko. Yanti ase no buidam. Oma besi buidam. Oma anche bosom na wo buidam. O tu kan nipa to me che no. These energies no e wo ho say ebe somo yen. But omo nsum nipa onhu no ho. They don't worship the one who is not born again. They don't serve the one who is not born again. When I'm talking about, I'm not talking about that church theological concept of born again. I'm talking about those who have attained the shift in consciousness and has awakened the soul essence within them. Those are the people asa ahonhom no esomo. Weekend yeah classes. Yeah classes now. Lady BBC questions and na down for be US na or the marijuana. Or I don't know whether it's marijuana or whatever, but a particular smoke could be or smoke here, then or off, then we'll have inner experiences. Now, will be some say real, and I'm say the person is in trouble because those drugs are psychedelic drugs, they are hallucinative drugs. A fake. One day I'll take time and teach into psychedelics. Say come from psychedelics or no. Only experience about it in the internal world, psychedelic. I will take time and take you to. I'll give you the compound composition of all those psychedelic drugs. And I'll show you how through epigenetics or epigenesis, it works on your DNA and then work on your psyche and create that false reality you call soul journey or soul travel. It's an illusion. We call it mental hallucination. A false reality created by preconceived experiences, preconceived desires, and the mind has the ability to play that reality. And you see it as a real experience. I will take time and teach it clearly. And that is the problem I have with the shamanic type of spirituality. The shamans. And the Peruvian type of spirituality. They are all false reality. You don't go to God with drugs. You don't go to the spiritual world with drugs. So when that happens, you'll be consistently dependent on that particular herb or cannabis you use. But you don't need it. You must go to God just the way you are, not in an altered state of consciousness. Not in an altered state of consciousness. You can do astral projection. You can do astral projection that you don't need to take in any psychedelic drugs. You must just be transformed by the renewal of the way you think. That is being born again. A shift in consciousness, transformation of the way you think. That is being born again. That is being born again. John chapter 3 verse 3. John chapter 3 verse 1. It says that there was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. So this man is not an ignorant man. He was a ruler of the Jews. Into that means Unimadie. He has studied the Torah, do this, do that. And the same man came to Jesus by night because of Nimdio Woninti. It was spiritual matters. On person obeba time ma Yesu Christo time ma data mkofo be hunu say oba Yesu o into oba enumre into na you be say you are Nicodemus coming to me uwia ho aba besua de because papa no onimade was study the Torah, was study this, was study the Mishnah, was study the Zohar, the Sefer Yezra, was study all those things. And oyonim for he does the prayers, all the that's all the prayers. Tanak when you was nyina. But who say Yesu Christo kanya mabia? No. Ade guy na kan mo odru. Young boy 30 years, 32, 33 years. He say mo kan mo odru. No can there now come from book references. The man that's one boy no kasa say I don't know jina ho na ade ni AC. And that's our ho na ade ni see. So decided say oba sa papa we be san asem. Verse 2 say, and the same came to Jesus by night and said unto him, Rabbi. Rabbi means teacher. So Jesus was also a teacher. Rabbi, we know that thou art a teacher from God. Oh, no, a ruler of the Jews. Or no, a ruler of the Jews. But on also catch Jesus said minim say wo ye church or church for out there ufri nyame ho. So you difference. Ye wa church for mu free nyame. And na ye wa church for omu free nyame. Ye wa church for omu free nyame and na wa church for omu free nyame. Yes, a church near offering nyame. Obi a wa attaining spiritual enlightenment or ultimate message directly from the divine. And yet through all this books and listening to other teachers and reading books to come. No. Because now Nicodemus, onimide. But need there or can or your practice no and all those things. Now the Nicodemus will say, we know, and you say we know, I say I know, or say we, ye say, thou art a teacher from God. See, I say, for no man can do these miracles that you do except God be with him. And what did Jesus Christ told him? Jesus Christ didn't claim monopoly. Or see, and Jesus answered and said unto him, verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. What is trying to say? Except a man is born again, he cannot experience the divine inside of him. Theology makes you think that the kingdom of God is somewhere else. Now, when later on, Jesus Christ said the kingdom of God is within you. So when Jesus Christ told them, the Pharisee, that unless a man is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. That means unless a man is born again, he cannot see the divine inside of him, because the kingdom of God is inside of you. And what is that born again? I'm saying that he's saying that until a man shifts his consciousness, where he thinks he knows, where he has placed his idea, where he has placed his attention, until he shifts his attention from there to the inside, he will never experience the kingdom of God. Now, verse 4, look at what Nicodemus told him. Nicodemus said unto him, how can a man be born again when he is old? You see how the carnal mindedness or carnal knowledge interpreted word, because he is looking at the letter of the word, not the spirit of the letter. He said, how can a man be born again when he is old? Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born again? Don't forget that I have told you earlier on that the born again I am talking about, or the rebirth I'm talking about, is not the concept of reincarnation propagated by the Eastern religions. But you realize that this time around, the Nicodemus said that a man is alive. He's not going to die. But the born again must take place whilst you are alive. The rebirth must take place whilst you are alive. So he's wondering, because what he knows that for you to be reborn again, which is the act of reincarnation, you must first die and to experience rebirth. But he noticed that the kind of rebirth Jesus was talking about is not the Eastern type of rebirth, which is what we call reincarnation, but he was talking about an internalized rebirth. Whilst in consciousness, you experience another incarnation within a present incarnation. And then Jesus said unto him, very, very, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of God. That which is born of flesh is flesh, and that which is born of spirit is spirit. So born again is the rebirth of your spirit, your essence. And that rebirth is the shift of your attention, the shift of your consciousness, the shift of your awareness to your spirit essence. That is where the kingdom of